Sup KBA Gamers, this is Last Shelter, and you're tuning in to Season 7 Hero Drop 6. It is the penultimate hero drop, a pool of 7, before we round off our Eden season, and that's going to have all Season X heroes. So if you want to get yourself the best chance of snagging these heroes before the season ends, then you kind of want to do it here. Now, before we dive into everything, I want to give a shout out to our Last Shelter partner, Leo's VIP Club, giving you access to some of the hottest APC base and hero skins, whether that's the new Blessing Lantern APC current on show or some of the surprise packs that are bringing some fan favorites. And with cumulative events running this weekend, you might find it the best chance to stack those super tickets so you can get some additional copies to max out and hero reconstruct. So Leo's VIP Club, I'll put the link down below. So as you can see, this is again the final sort of small hero drop, if you can say that, for the season. Since we've had a few of the previous drops and what those lineups looked like, I would arguably say this is going to be the best value in terms of the return of heroes you can get, as long as you can get at least a minimum of one SX hero. And yeah, they're going to really prop up the value and quality of your APCs. So the 4 you can see headlining is, of course, this season's new hero, Scoprion, alongside Canoness, Siren, Heaven's Redemption. They do round out a total pool of 7, and they are joined by Valkyrie, Sven, and Shadow. So of course, depending on how your hero lineup is looking, you might find the risk factor either higher or lower. And of course, if you have any of these heroes maxed, then of course that's going to increase the risk factor. But if you really want to risk it for those additionals, especially for Scorpion and Siren, who's kind of back in the fold, or just any of those top tier heroes in this drop, then it still might be worth risking it for the Last Shelter chocolate biscuit. And if you get duplicates, then you can just use them for opening up maxed heroes to reconstruct. So you'll find Scorpion is definitely the showstopper this season, kind of succeeding Wrath in the troop recovery block, but doing it to amazing effect. You will see Scorpion alongside Dawn and Siren that are making very killer combos. It is counterable, if that's even a word, but the fact how Scorpion, even Canoness and Siren are all putting together, as well as Heaven's Redemption still making some of the best vehicle and fighter heroes in Last Shelter, then this is honestly going to be a big game changer if you're looking to develop your APCs. So of course, top picks are pretty much the 4 that you see here. Any of Scorpion, Canoness, Siren, and Heaven's Redemption is going to give you great returns, while the other 3 can still play a part. Arguably, I'll say Shadow is the weakest link in this. That being said, if you don't have any max copies, then it's still going to develop you, maybe not in the direction you want to go, but at least it's still a usable copy to open up these heroes, especially with Hopeness Lab really changing things up. So Scorpion, Siren, Canoness, Heaven's Redemption, definitely top picks. Valkyrie, Sven, and Shadow still being great quality, while Shadow and Valkyrie kind of overlap. Sven, of course, still exclusively king for force tiling alongside Captain Ivanov and Panther, whereas Heaven's Redemption going to provide you that great dodge and healing ability. So let's first kick it off with the main man, Scorpion. Reason why he works well is he can stack his troop recovery block pretty much in the first 3 turns if you have him in combos that are delivering combat skills guaranteed. 3 turns, you need all allies to execute a combat skill. Every time they do it, then it's going to increase the effect by 1/3 for troop recovery, or 20% for reducing the damage effect, which maxes out at 100% troop recovery block and a 60% damage reduction. So really huge. Of course, he's going to play excellently in mixed formations alongside a healer like Dawn, but also Canoness in here you can pick up, or Heaven's Redemption, and then a damage dealer. You can place him anywhere in formation depending who you have. So if you're running Dawn, then you do want a damage dealer in the front. But if you're not running Dawn, then any of Death Rider, Siren, or shooters in an all-shooter formation like Nomad, then you can have him in the back row. So very versatile, and again, an excellent support hero So it follows the stackable nature, and he provides his own combat skill to execute the effect, and it's going to give a decent amount. It's going to trigger well, especially if it's in the first few rounds, and it will deal some poison damage, but also add a suppression version. It can also stack with other poison heroes, so of course Lust being a natural synergy pairing with Scorpion. Again, very killer, definitely the one that you want to drop into, and if you did get a few copies of Scorpion previously, you're going to want to dip in here to try and chance and max him out. Next up, we have Shadow. Shadow is okay. You can place him in front of Scorpion, so you can build formations around him if you don't get Scorpion. So Shadow is decent. He has some evasion and provides some good effects depending on a luck of draw. So every successful evasion, he has a third chance to either reduce damage, increase more damage, or recover troops at 80%. It is a little bit unpredictable because it has more of a lottery to that skill Faithguard. But in terms of his evasion, it doesn't stack as quickly. It does require him to take a few hits, and he doesn't like naturally or inherently heal as part of his ability. It's just more from whether his Faithguard is going to execute that. So you do want healing from another, but he's still going to be good. Provides some dodge ability so he can evade damage, and also provides a chance that he could do it again. So Shadow's not the best in terms of front row shooters, but again, he can play a part. So third up, we have Scarlett Siren, who again was kind of a bit lost alongside the damage dealers. Now that Dawn and Scorpion are back and the great synergy of how she guarantees her hits, then that's why a lot of people are scrambling to try and get copies of her, or finally making use of her since they haven't been able to previously. Pretty much from Way of the Flame, guaranteed turn 1, 4, and 7 burning status, deals an additional 150% damage each turn. But the main one is that plus 50% skill damage against burning targets. So through the way that you can guarantee their status, then it is going to amp the amount of damage that enemies will receive, and that's throughout the entire battle for 2 enemies, which is great. This requires a 1-turn prep, but I like it. Attacks 5 times, kind of like And the Knight, and provides a counter depending on what they're running, whether that's disarm for shooters or silence for fighters and vehicles. So very deadly and can stack up to 2 times, which means if that executes again, then it will just increase the duration of that counter. And then again, a 100% chance to deal damage with a further 40% chance to deal 500% to the enemy with the lowest troop count. We have Canoness. Again, she is still very relevant and great. Besides Retrograder, she has the second highest healing ability and has a great overall skill set as a tanky healing fighter hero. I like Prey because it's a guaranteed dodge for your friendly front row. Mid-turn of the battle, it does last 2 turns, and also removes debuffs, so kind of like Heavens and Major Honor. Her healing rate is very good, 247%, 50% chance, which is kind of hit and miss. It doesn't feel it triggers as often depending on how battle goes, but by percentage and reality, it's still going to trigger well. She does have options of being in the front row. She will double heal herself, so if you're against very high damage, then she's going to prop up survivability of your formation to keep everyone else going. Or if you kind of want to split healing across the 2 for more coverage, then you can place her anywhere in the formation and the front row will also be healed. And then finally, this is more of her attack ability. 7% chance, this definitely does trigger very regularly, and this is where you might want to place her a bit more thoughtfully, since it will always target the furthest away within the range of 3. So you can kind of place this depending where the damage dealer is. So for example, if she's in the back row, she's always going to attack the front row, which is a nice counter for those Dawn Scorpion APC formations, unless it's Death Rider. But it's also going to provide a 1-turn suppression. So yeah, very good all-round, high-quality fighter hero with great healing properties. We then have Heaven's Redemption, who again is kind of like the Canoness in some ways for vehicles. I like how he has a very good recovery rate for 2 random squads. It does trigger well. 55% just edges it more than it normally does, kind of on a 50-50 edge. I found this executes pretty well, and I like how it removes debuffs, so there's a high likelihood you can remove counters applied as long as that skill can trigger. It is a combat skill, so it can be countered, but if you put him kind of in a protection status or further away, then he can execute it a bit better. Distracting maneuver also really strong, 40% chance, so works more often than less. Silencing 2 random enemy squads for 2 turns and 20% lesser damage, so again, great for countering those combat skill focused damage dealers. You can get counters to each other, and I like Heaven's Redemption a lot, especially how frequent vehicles are being run. What makes him great is his emergency evacuation. It's a 30% chance when it does trigger, however, has a high chance for your whole friendly squad to dodge and evade damage, which is killer. No matter how high the damage is, if it doesn't hit them, then you know it's kind of pointless. So this works great for the next 3 damages, and this can keep on triggering and provide a high dodge frequency if it does manage to, and increases might and resistance for 2 turns. So definitely important in Heavens, really top tier. Valkyrie, more known for force tiling or just really high on the offensive for damage dealers, specifically shooters. What makes her work well, she does basically have a net plus 100% damage effect to your shooter formation, and also allows 2 friendly squads to go first and priority in battle, which could sway things after the first 2 or 3 turns. However, she is pretty redundant, not as effective due to a short stay in battle compared to, say, Koshei. Even Shadow has a bit more relevance out after the first few turns. And then finally we have Sven, who is going to make the other kind of king of force tiling combos. Not really useful in normal combat. That could change with the Hopeness Lab, so definitely some testing can go on there, but we all know he is king with force tiling, mainly because of his no return. After your troops have been wiped out, he will last 1 more turn, so if you do kill all of the enemy troops but your formation is killed, Sven lasting until the next turn means you actually win that tile fight, so you are more likely to force tile successfully, especially at high poison with Sven, more so than Captain Ivanov, Anna and Panther. So that's kind of where it's at. He does also buff himself up a lot. 100% additional might and resistance increases damage for the squad, and also when his troops count is half, then he provides additional basic attacks. So I like him. He's very unique. He's obviously not known for combat, but for force tiling he is great. Now that kind of rounds up Hero Drop 6. I actually already dipped my tickets in here before, since I was itching just to see who I would get. So I did actually have 100 tickets, which is enough for 1 hero, and this is how it went.
So the number of tickets wasn't great. Like, that's probably the max that I've
had to use all my tickets for one hero. Definitely had better odds last season, which was around the 50, 60, 65-ish, but now it's definitely been around the 90, 100 consistently. So don't know if the devs are tweaking the probabilities of how often these heroes are dropping to just make you spend more super tickets. Means you can't get as many hero drops or just spend money. That being said, I was super happy I got Heaven's Redemption, since I could finally open up his third copy in that all-important dodge status. If I would look back, I probably would have opened up Emergency Evacuation first and then Awakened, because that just is much more meaningful than having him awakened. So glad that I can do that. Unlocked it, and we're gonna open that bad boy. Sweet. So now just need one copy left, who hopefully is going to appear in the token shop soon, which means I can max him and finally work him on the Hopeness lab, making my vehicles a bit more developed, since I was kind of all shooter heavy last season with my rewards. But yeah, that's kind of it. So hero drop 6, the final chance for you to dip into this excellent hero drop. Definitely a great all-round set, especially if you're not getting good luck. You'll find a bit more safer returns here. Sound off in the comments below how many tickets you used and who you got. I'm kind of happy I got Heaven, since he's eluded me for the past couple of seasons, even though I got 2 copies in my first Eden season. So now being able to make him more usable is great, and avoided, say, Valkyrie, Sven and Shadow. That makes dropping 100 tickets still worth it. So thanks a lot, KBA Gamers. Again, if you want to see more of my videos from my main channel, check it out at One Tech Traveler. You'll also find my articles on my website, which I'll put the link down below. I'll see you in the next video, but until then, keep being awesome. Peace.